there, it would be impossible not to know the marketing of the McNabbs. It is perhaps one of the coolest brands and certainly recognizable out there in the. My own clients talk about your marketing. So we've got Russ for 1 hour. Russ is been gracious enough to give us that amount of time, and he is going to go off to a home inspection and do what we all want to do. So I'm going to say, without further ado, please welcome Russ. Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We are here to talk about the title of this webinar is micro farming, and you and I had a brief conversation. You're like, dude, I don't know that I micro farm in the traditional sense of the word, and that was enough for me to smile and go, then you're the perfect man for this webinar. Because from an outsider's perspective, micro farming in its essence is deciding to narrow your focus of specialty in some area that you think is going to bring you back dividends. And in micro farming back in my day, and those of you that have been in the business for 10 years or a little longer, you're probably familiar with, okay, this person owns that neighborhood, or this person owns this niche of marketing or real estate, which might be new construction. And we're now in a new frontier of real estate where you don't see as many realtors trying to dominate like a sub area of Birchland Manor in Port Coquitlam. It just isn't a thing, right? And here you are dominating a space in real estate that's bringing you back seemingly incredible results. So was that your focus? Did you and your brother get together? First of all, tell us about your makeup, your team, your brother, and did you guys start out together?
Yeah.
Let's go there.
Yeah, well, it started off, we both built houses together for a long time with our parents. And then our dad passed away, and we thought, do we want to keep doing this outside in there, like you said, pumping gas in the rain? I was digging and building in the rain. Nobody wants to do that. So we both became realtors. That was about 12 years ago. We started separate. Jordan worked downtown. I worked out in the burbs, and then he just wasn't having a good time downtown. And then we started the McNabbs and joined a different brokerage. And that was about 8 years ago, I think. And we just thought, let's get together, let's build a website, because we know the website is where 90% of people find their homes back in the day, right? So we just said, let's start a website, let's give content out, let's not make people sign up for anything. I don't know, I just think about the things that I hate when I go into a store, when I go to a car dealership, when I go and do something and somebody's on me. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And we sat down right away in the beginning and said, we don't want to do that. We don't want people to be like, oh God, oh, here he comes. Like, I'm going to go the other way. Like, don't follow me around the open house. Right. So we just thought, like, let's just do what we would want. And it's just try and bring it down a little bit, not so salesy, and just focus on marketing. Cause we always had businesses on the side. We were always pretty entrepreneurial. So we had a clothing company, and I made movies and film. We sponsored skiers and snowboarders, and I'd make movies of them. And then I was really into the movie making thing. And I think as soon as I became a realtor, my first listing was my parents, and I made a video. YouTube had been out for about 6 months. Mm-hmm. So I made a video and put it on YouTube, and a bunch of people watched it, and all the old guys in the office said, oh, how was your first open house? And I remember saying, I think I had 75 groups through my parents' house, and they laughed at me. They thought I was joking. And I was like, oh, I made this video and I put it on YouTube, and a bunch of people watched it, and they came and looked at it. And they all kind of gave me the, like, well, that's a really bad idea. You should just get them to come, and then you can sell them on the house. Don't show them too much in the beginning. And then it was right after that, I thought, no, that's not the way that I'm going to do it. And my brother and I just said, we're going to try and be different. There's a lot of realtors out there, and they all do kind of the same thing. So we just thought, we want to push marketing, because it's about marketing, not just yourself, but marketing the properties. And then when people, like Josh, you said you had clients, your own clients, talk about our marketing, which is exactly what we're going for. We spend the money. We don't try and cheap out. We spend the money in the beginning because it looks good. It looks it does a very good job at getting the marketing out there, people to see it, and then they usually pay more for it because they want it. So I think the marketing is key for us. It's the biggest thing. And then it goes back to the micro farming. We never knocked on doors. We never flyer dropped. We spent $0 on marketing. We just put it all into our website. And even that we didn't pay people. I was doing the back end of the website, making pages for different, maybe that's my micro farming, is making pages for Pitt Meadows or Osprey Village or Port Coquitlam, and making pages so that when people Google search Pitt Meadows real estate, that hopefully we show up in the top 5, right? My only goal back then was to show up high in Google search. Right. And if you know anything about Google, it runs the world basically. So YouTube is owned by Google. So anytime you post a YouTube video, it searches really high on Google. And then as long as your website continually gets traffic and you have Google Analytics attached to it, you're going to keep pushing yourself up on search results. So that was our micro farming: search results, Google, and then Instagram came out. And then we kind of slowed down on everything else and just hit Instagram.
Is that your main focus at this point?
Yeah. Facebook is, we feel is dying. It's still great. It's a fantastic tool, but if any of my friends are picking up their phone, it's not to go on Facebook. It's to go on Instagram. So and kind of goes back again to like what we do. We don't try and post about real estate. We post about our life. And I think that's a huge thing for us is, we mix it. Real estate's in there 100% on our personal profiles and stuff like that. But it's about our life and what we're doing. And that just gets people to message us. It does.
I have to say, so for sure, I imagine everyone in the room today has seen some version of your post, certainly your marketing. The ones, I mean, and I love the ones you post about your life, in particular, the lifestyle you and your brother have just moved towards, which is the cabin life, right? The McNabb Inn. McNabb Inn, yes. And then the one that I watched, like I think I watched this 2 times. I was going to go to a 3 and then I got sidetracked. Was the child, I don't know whose child it was, riding the bike off the dock into the lake. Like that was just awesome.
Yeah, it was one of my kids. But that's what it's not about just the dock or the cabin life. It's about like our life. And we find that people come to us or contact us because they feel like they know us, right? It's not just, I listed a house, I sold a house. I listed a house, I sold a house. It's I listed a house, then I'm going to go jump off the dock, then I'm going to take my kids to the movie, then I'm going to go dirt biking with my kids, then I'm going to go do an inspection. And we feel like they get to know us without really knowing. I get people constantly, they're like, oh, hey, how's it going? I have no idea who they are. And I guess that's a good thing, but it is just because we put ourselves out there. And I know it's not easy for a lot of people to post, and George posts way more than I do. He's way more into that than I am, but it works. The more you post about what you're doing in your life, the more people are like, the amount of people that messaged me about how to build a dock last week was unbelievable. And maybe those people aren't going to use me as their realtor, but they asked me how to build a dock. And maybe when they go to sell their house, they're going to go, I'll ask Russ. I'll ask Russ and see what he thinks, right? So that's what it is for us. It's the amount of messages we get about what we're doing just gets people to contact us even more, right? So we again spent $0 on flyers, marketing, bus benches. We spend nothing on that. Anything we do for marketing should be free for us. That's how we look at it. It's marketing ourselves. It should be free.
Now you spend zero
things is different.
Yeah, you spend $0 now. There was a time I saw you on a bus bench, and I thought it was the wind protector portion of the bus bench, right? In Pitt Meadows, of course. So I saw you every day.
Yeah.
And I thought it looks a lot like how Craig Johnson looks right now in that photo.
Yeah,
And
sunglasses, guys. I have ginger
yeah,
eyes and my eyes burn in the sun. Okay.
it was absolutely cool, which I like. The thing that you said, I just want to go back a little bit because we're talking about micro farming in essence, and you talked about taking on one neighborhood, perhaps like Pitt Meadows, and then taking that same concept of what you're doing on the online and then moving it over to another scalable city. What you're doing is scalable. And what's really clever about this approach to micro farming, because you're really focusing on what is it that I did to promote Pitt Meadows, which is a rinse and repeat for any other city that you happen to be selling it. Because once you're good in one city, you're faster in being good at another.
Totally.
And
yeah.
That's the difference between traditional, I'm going to go door knock this neighborhood and become the neighborhood expert. Well, that's challenging to do in multiple cities, let alone multiple sub areas, right? Like it's a challenge. So you found, I think you've cracked open a code, and we can see it being done with Garbett Duma. They're doing something very similar or similar, different.
Yeah.
And to me, I think to myself, okay, so what's next? You guys are doing this and you're keeping it going. And what's next? Is there a next, or is it just carry on?
I think it's carry on and just, we try and jump on things early, right? Like as soon as a drone came out, I was like, oh, if that can hold a GoPro camera, I'm getting one. And I waited and they came out with a gimbal and I bought one right away. Cause I thought it's not about filming with a drone. It's about, I think, being first at most things, right? You got to get in there right away. So we're always looking for something different. We're always looking for, I don't know, we're on TikTok. Not that many buyers or sellers are using TikTok. It's more teenagers, but it just is another spot where you Google search the McNabs, we show up, right? So we just try and put ourselves out there in as many different spots as possible. And then when something starts to slow down or die, then we toss it and we move on to the next. And we feel like we're still posting on Facebook, but it's not. It's on the.
Hi, how are you?
I find.
Hang on one second, Carla. Are you in the room?
Oh God, we haven't talked in a while.
Just Paul. Just Paul.
I don't call back.
Just Paul. Could you put yourself on mute, please? I got to remind Carla to stay in the room the whole time because we end up with some, and I don't have the ability to put.
You don't have the authority to mute somebody, eh?
No, I should be made co-host is what should happen here. But Just Paul, all right, can you hear us? And then when they walk away from the screen, that makes it even better.
Yeah.
All right.
Slow down a touch now.
Oh no, we're gonna listen to this guy. Hang on a second. Is there a way to get him out of here?
Phone him.
Chat.
Yeah, no, true.
Does anybody in the room know Just Paul Baines? Paul Baines. Paul. Yeah.
Well, quiet
maybe
now.
He's muted us. He's muted himself. Perfect. Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah. So I love that. Now, how do you feel about with a drone? Because this has been on my mind. First, there was Matterport. Matterport came out and gave some pretty cool renditions of a house. Yeah. Did you use that?
Yep, absolutely. Especially when COVID hit, we were like Matterport 100%.
Yes.
It's one of those things. Not a lot of people look at it, but the people that want to look at it and go, "This is awesome. I'm going to this house." Right. So it's just one of those things. Pictures, videos, 3D floor plans, Matterport. We do it on every one of our listings, and it just gives another person another way to look at it, right? And that goes back to when the old guys said, "Don't do videos." Like, that's stupid. And it's complete opposite. The more you give people now, the amount of buyers that complain what they don't have a floor plan. Like, how am I supposed to know where the bedroom is, right? And I'm like,
of course.
It's hard. So I think the marketing thing and getting everything just makes it easier on buyers. And we get a lot of realtors saying, like, "Thanks for doing all that," because my client saw all of it and wanted to go look at it and bought it because of the marketing. And I think the people that don't do it are missing out. Right?
100%. It's a lot like back 12 years ago, and Claudio would probably remember this too. If you were going to place a news ad or a newspaper ad, don't put the price in, so you give the people a reason to call you. If you can, sell the sizzle, not the steak. And I always felt that was BS. I always felt like, listen, and you said it beautifully. How would I want to be treated if I were in the same shoes. Well, if I know how I want to be treated, then I'm gonna be that. And first of all, drill down on that, because that's very rare. And once you start doing that, you get a following, and you get people who actually appreciate what you're doing, and sellers that when you explain why you do what you do, they go, yeah, that makes perfect sense. I like being treated that way too. Yeah. And there's no.
I think my goal, as I always say in like a listing presentation or on a meet a buyer or something like that, I say the similar thing, but I always finish it the exact same way. My job is to make sure you like me at the end. That's it. I don't care how it happens. Is if you like me at the end, I know I did a good job, because that goes back to us not really micro farming. We're micro farming our own clients for referral. That's it. Like, that's how we get our business, is all referrals. It's very rare that we meet somebody that we don't know or it hasn't been recommended to us from somebody.
Based on the approach you're taking to marketing and being so dominant online, how many times do you have to pick up the phone throughout the year to call your past clients or sphere of influence? Or do you do events? Like, what do you do to really cement that relationship, if anything?
We call them after a couple months of them moving or buying or whatever, just make sure everything's cool, make sure everything and it goes back again to like our beginning construction. People phone us constantly about things about their house, right? Hey, do you know somebody, a hookups? We got a huge list of hookups, like builders, framers, drywallers, electrical guys, and we don't really do that. Like, and it's not, we don't do it in a bad way, but people reach out to us. Like, I don't remember the last time I picked up my phone to phone people I don't have a Rolodex. I have an iPhone. So I've never scrolled through my phone and be like, I'm going to call this guy right now. We reach out to them. We send them McNabb swag. Like, we have lighters, rollies, sweatshirts, hats, glasses, flip-flops, packing tape,
cozies,
boxes,
beer cozies,
like anything. And that's how we reach back to them, is we get their address and I mail stuff to them constantly. So I'm putting koozies in the mail or lighters in the mail or a sweatshirt or a hat. And it's just, I don't even message them. I know their address and I just send them something. And then they message me, oh, hey, I got your package. So awesome. So thankful. And I was like, oh, it's $1.50 or a 50-cent beer koozie that I sent you. And they take it with them everywhere. And then somebody's like, oh, I got 5 of these. Here, have one. And then it just turns into, who are these guys? And the other thing about our marketing is we don't put real estate anywhere.
Yeah.
We just put the McNabb. It's our last name. So it's a little bit different for certain people, because it isn't just our last name. And we've always promoted our last name. So it's the McNabbs.com and doesn't say anything about real estate. So people are like, what the hell is that? And they Google it. And then they're like, oh, I didn't know they were realtors. Because again, we're not trying to sell ourselves as realtors. We're just trying to be ourselves. And then people seem to gravitate towards us because of it.
Yeah. By the way, I'm going to go back to TikTok. I love that. I'm listening to an audiobook right now. And one of the things they talked about was how Visa, for example, is marketing to Barbie. There's Barbie Visa and there's children. So they're making sure that their brand is in the eyes of children, because children is the next generation coming through, and they're going to go, well, I'm already familiar with Visa. I know it works. McNabb's going into that space of teenagers is a brilliant move for a brand new crop of clients that reach buying age. Smart move.
Yeah. I think that was hard for us too. When we started, I looked like I was 12. So nobody wanted to buy or sell a house with a 12-year-old. So it was a hard start for sure. But now that I think age has a lot to do with it. You can't be an 18-year-old realtor and kill it, because how many 18-year-olds are your friends or anybody buying a house? Not too many. So I think, getting them in the beginning and not trying to sell them on real estate, just putting the brand, like the amount of kids at the skate park in Pitt Meadows that have a hat or a shirt, a McNabb shirt, is crazy. My kid comes home from school every once in a while. I was like, how does Ryan have a McNabb hat? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. He got it at a soccer tournament or something like that. And it's just, again, brand awareness. We keep our logo very similar, and it's just on everything we can put it on. And we don't just give it to our clients, we give it to anybody, or give them a shirt, or the kid that's down the street that scoots by at my house every day. I'm like, hey, here, you want a shirt? And they take a shirt. I don't know. So it's, for us, swag and getting our name out there, and then it just makes it more recognizable, like with anything else, any other brand.
Tell me about, okay, so you make posts on a daily basis. Jordan's making posts on a daily basis. How did you guys come to an agreement? What did that conversation look like between the two of you or your team? And I'm assuming Craig is doing it as well too. I've seen some of his stuff. So what does that conversation look like? And is there such thing as, hey, I don't like what you posted, or you're not posting enough? Like, how does it go?
Yeah, there's a lot of brother fighting. That happens a lot. I don't know if any of you are in business with your family, but it's not easy. I've been doing it my entire life, so I'm kind of used to it. And my wife Jamie always says, like, you guys can fight and then you can be friends in 2 hours from now. As she said, her and her sisters, that never works. So I don't know. It's just us growing up the same, and we argue, and I'm like, you shouldn't have posted that. That's pushing the boundaries. He loves to push the boundaries. I'm sure, Josh, you'll get to know once you're the managing broker, and he always likes to push it. You'll get some phone calls about him, I'm sure. But that's the balance. He pushes it, and he says, this is what I'm going to do. And I said, dude, you can't do that. Like, we're going to get in trouble for that. So you got to pull back a little bit, or you got to lighten up a little bit. And he's like, oh, okay. So we do argue about that kind of stuff, but it was just us sitting down saying, like, Jord posts more than I do. It's pretty obvious to me. I don't know if anybody else, but he posts a lot more, and he keeps saying, dude, you gotta post more. And I know every time I post more, I do more stuff. I don't know, I do a time lapse of me building a dock or something. Just the amount of people that message me because of it it's crazy. So the more posting, the more you're not looking for likes or comments. You're looking for people to side message you, right? And that's where posting is different than stories. Stories, we get a lot more side messages from. A post is a comment, and people comment. Their comment is public knowledge, so everybody can read their comment. But if you're doing more stories, it's a side message. So it's more private messaging between you and that person, and they ask you a question, and then I say something, or I give them information on something, and then that's it, right? So it's the posting on a regular basis gets that side chat going, and that's all it is friendly answers to whatever question you have. And then it comes back around when they see a listing. They're like, hey, I saw your listing. I'm actually thinking about buying a townhouse, right? So that's where it comes from.
I love that you said that, Russ. I'm recently taken on to Instagram, and I'll do a video, or I'll do some photos, and my ex-wife is the campaign manager. She posts it all. She did one recently with me in my most recent harvest, and she put some John Denver music in there, and I'm like, she thought it was hilarious. I watched, I'm like, oh my word, the level of embarrassment I was experiencing was like, I wanted to hide.
So because you're putting yourself out there. You're putting yourself out there that you normally wouldn't do. And me and Jordan actually talked about it the other day. He said, hey, did you see how much Josh is posting lately? And I said, yeah, it's awesome. Like, and I bet you how many people are messaging you or commenting or side messaging you because of it, right?
I was just going to make that comment. I've got 32 conversations going with people who are sharing their stories about their garden, wanted to know, what did I do to get my garlic so big? And wow, that broccoli's amazing. I've never grown it. And I'm like, well, I hope I don't turn into the gardener realtor, but maybe I
has zero to do with real estate, but
zero.
It's keeping that conversation alive. And those people are going to, because now you're somewhat of an expert on gardening. People are going to come to you and be like, hey, where is your garden? Oh, in Tip Meadows. Oh yeah, I just live down the street. And it always comes back to real estate eventually. But in the beginning, it's just doing what you like, which is gardening. And there's lots of people that love gardening, right?
I have to share what you're saying is brilliant, in that I think I certainly came in a generation when it was all about real estate, look like a professional, dress like a professional, wear the suit. There was a strong force and our old guard of realtors that dictated the way we behaved and what we did and how we marketed. And that's changed drastically. And now, you know, to some degree, I'm less interested in talking about real estate. I know it'll end up being there. I'm not even ever questionable whether I'm an authority on real estate. They know for the most part I am, but they want to talk about what I'm doing on a personal level. And you sharing your personal posts is what really inspired the heck out of me, because I'm like, this really is about you just showing up as you authentically. And then what? This is the greatest secret of real estate. You will then attract that person to your world in business, and then your business becomes someplace you want to be all the time, as opposed to, I'm going to pick up the phone or door knock, and well, pick up the phone anymore, but you're going to door knock and I'm going to get, who knows what you're going to get, right?
Yeah.
This is a much different approach to real estate. It's a somewhat ethereal because we're talking about energy, but it's absolutely tangible because it shows up in your results.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just like not trying to be an expert in real estate and just being real estate, because to be honest, who's really interested in real estate all the time? People are really interested in real estate when they want to buy or when they want to sell. And outside of that, they don't care. They don't care. And if you're constant real estate, they're done their cycle of real estate and they're going to unfollow you, right? So you got to mix it in with everything else of your life, because they use you because they like you. There's a million realtors out there. They picked you because they like you. And I think that goes back again to the posting on a regular basis about your own personal life. You're in it. You can pick a million realtors, but if you get along with somebody, or they're your style, or they're good, they're fun to be around, and it's not just so robotic, then that's what they want to trust you because they're friends with you, not because you're like, I know the stats on Burnaby, right? Like nobody cares about that. They're in there, they want to trust somebody, and they want to use somebody that they like, not somebody that's like a robot and says they know the market stats, right?
Brilliant, well said. Brilliant comment. It is absolutely the true thing. I'm just going to make a comment. Vic and Terry, you guys are in the room. Welcome. Could you put yourselves on mute, please? Terry and Vic Naker. One of the things, and this is what I found fascinating in the beginning. I would think about where the trajectory of your career and how long it's taken my career to be sort of at the same level as where the McNabbs are, our team, mine and Aaron Mackay. And I always thought the bar was really high, but in reality, the bar was as simple as being authentic to who you are. The people aren't looking for me to be the smartest realtor on the planet in the market. They know that I'm competent. They know that I can do what I can do well. So it wasn't. So for those of you listening, it isn't about having all the stats of Burnaby or all the stats of Pitt Meadows, or it's just not about that. It's not about knowing how many community gardens there are, although I do. It's really quite about being you. His charge is finished on his Tesla.
And you get charged $1 a minute if you're done charging and you're still plugged in. So they want
otherwise
you to leave.
It's free. Yeah,
otherwise it's cheap. Yeah.
Right on.
Sorry.
Yeah. So for those, no, that was it. Just for those of you listening, the bar to success is relatively low. There's just no need to complicate it. But on the heels of that comment, let's say there's people here right now. Well, for sure, there's people here right now that perhaps haven't even given it a go. They're thinking that I want to go. I'm ready to do TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I don't even know where to begin. So what would that look like to you?
But they feel like you. They feel like you when you put yourself out there and you're like, oh shit, people are gonna, I don't know, I sound like an idiot. You watch your video and you hear your voice and you're like, oh man, it just is fucking terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is painful. But everybody else doesn't think that way. Everybody else thinks, oh yeah, that's Russ. Like they already know you. They already follow you. So if you lose a couple followers, who cares? Those aren't the people that are going to phone you for real estate anyways. I don't care. And that's how we thought. Yeah, it's tough in the beginning because you criticize, you're your biggest critic. You criticize everything you do, the way you sound, what you said, and you sound like an idiot to yourself. But to everybody else, you sound like just you're a normal person, right? So I think you got to get over the fear of sounding or looking like an idiot, because you just get better at it. It just gets easier. Your posts get better, and the more you practice, like at anything, the better you get. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. The one thing I'll caution you on though is 0 to 100 real quick. Don't do that. Don't sign up for Instagram and post 1,500 pictures right away. You got to start slow because people unfollow the hot and heavy, right? You don't want to come in crazy right off the bat because you're like, oh shit, this is working. I got to do this now. And I can do it all the time. You got to start slow because people will be like, oh, he's a realtor all of a sudden. Great. And I'm going to unfollow that. Thank you. So I think you got to do it, but you got to start slowly and slowly build up to doing it all the time. And you'll get better. You'll feel more confident, and you won't have as many people unfollow you.
Well, and that's obviously the goal, right? So if you were to say, okay, one thing, start one thing, get real good at it, what would that one thing be? I'm going to take a picture of all of us, by the way.
Super easy. We are constantly doing something. We are constantly going to a showing. We are constantly going to an inspection. We're constantly meeting for somebody for coffee. Post about it. And it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be 40 stories about you doing an inspection. David Sella, where is he? He's in here somewhere. He posted one the other day. I looked at it. He was at an inspection out on the back patio sun tanning. That was it. At an inspection, sun tanning. Something like that. Something super simple. And it was, hey, I'm hanging out. I'm doing my thing, but I'm also working at the same time. Don't forget I'm a realtor. I'm doing an inspection right now. Right? It's small. It's not 40 stories about how David walked through the house and looked at the toilet and the bathroom and all that stuff. It's about him just showing people what he's doing that day. Not about work, just hanging out. And this is where I'm at right now. Right? I took a picture of the screen and I'm going to post it after. Just sitting in my car doing a mastermind with K-Dub right now. That's it. Yeah. People don't need to know what it is. People don't need to be a part of K-Dub to know what we're doing. But they're just like, oh, he's working in his car. Like, because I work all the time. And they see me not sit in an office. I don't sit in an office. I take my phone and my computer with me, and that's where I go. Wherever I am, I work from there. And I do my thing in life, and I work around it. I don't work. I think maybe that goes back again to what you said, like what Jordan and I do. And we grew up doing life, right? My parents took me out of school and got to travel in high school, and my parents worked all over the world and we went with them, and we were always doing something. There was always some sort of an adventure that we were going on. And Jordan and I just thought, like, real estate's a perfect job for us to keep our adventure going and work at the same time. So like wherever we go, we can work from, right? We take our computer and phone with us, which technology is, I'm a huge fan. So that has made my job 8,000 times easier. Who remembers going to meet their client to get something signed? Like, if somebody wants me to go sit down with them to sign something, I'm like, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow then. You want to buy this house today or not? So we're going to sign online today. So it is, technology has made our job, I don't want to say easier, but more convenient for sure, so that you can still live your life and work at the same time. So
it's certainly cut a certain, it's cut a certain amount of strings. It's allowed a different level, a degree of freedom. I wouldn't say a ton, but still more freedom.
My friends, every time I go to their house, they're like, oh, you're going to sell a house today, and make fun of me. And I say, hopefully. And I'm going to be over there in the corner for 15 minutes while you guys are over there. And I'm going to come back to the party after that. Right. So we just try and live our life, and real estate works around us. And I think if you solely focus on just being a realtor, you got to do that in the beginning. But once things are going, I think being normal and living a life and hanging out or going to meet somebody or going to a barbecue is going to get you more business in the end than sitting in an office and phoning your Rolodex, right? So that's the way we roll.
I have to say this. I have to. I knew I liked you. I liked you guys on right on. I knew you back from the D'Amelios, like way back in the day. I heard your name, and so I knew I liked you. I knew you guys were onto something good, but I knew I loved you when you started posting these videos of you scaring the shit out of Jamie. And I don't think anything has brought me more joy than watching
Me
you
too.
scare her and her expression. And I'm like, are you not worried about a heart attack? Because some of your videos, I mean, you really scared the heck out
Oh
of this
yeah,
woman.
yeah. Like, yeah, it's awesome. I can't
And
do
her
it to
face,
like.
she's mad.
Oh, she's mad. Yeah, but then she's like, oh wow, you got me. You got me again. Like how she, Josh, I can walk into the room while she's doing dishes, and I'm like, oh hey, and she screams. So it's not
Okay.
hard to scare her, but it is. It was so often that I was like, I should just pull up my phone and try and scare her every once in a while. And the amount, again, it goes back to posting. The amount of people that message me because of that is unreal. So that just, I am sure I've gotten a deal from scaring my wife. I'm sure of it somehow.
Yeah, I'm
So
convinced you did. You certainly won my heart when you did that. I'm like, that's authentic and real as it's right there.
yeah, I love it. It's fun.
Let me add this to it because I'm keenly paying attention to a lot of different realtors that are playing in this platform. They're in this space and they're doing videos. And for me anyways, it's not difficult to pick the authentic versus inauthentic.
Yeah,
And I'm not talking about the newness of something where things are a bit awkward. That's not at all. I mean, that I can see too. That I like actually, because it's
yeah,
authentic, right? You
yeah,
can, but it's the person trying to be something that maybe they're not. And or like example, trying to be funny or trying to be too serious. They're not actually showing us who they are. And you can see it really clearly. How does that play in with what you're doing?
yeah. It's we watch some videos and we cringe a little too, and we're
Mhm.
like, oh, that's. And then you think, oh, I don't. And I think this is what stops a lot of people from doing it is they see cringeworthy stuff and they don't want to be that. They don't want to be cringeworthy, right? You don't want to be putting yourself out there and people going, oh, that was
Yeah.
harshly bad, right? So, um, you just more practice. Forget about those people. Shorter videos. Don't go in and be like, you know what? I'm going to start making videos and make a 4-minute video. You got to start with like David Sella, 40-second, like 5 seconds, 5-second video, right? So you say 2 words and you're out. And then maybe the next time you say 5 words and you're out. And you slowly build yourself up because it's not easy and it can come across as very not authentic and
Yeah.
people don't like that. They if you mess up or you goof up, you got to roll with it. And people would feel more comfortable with you if you did mess up instead of taking 40 takes to get one averagely perfect one, right? So the
Yeah.
more you're just be yourself. Don't try and be somebody else. Don't try and copy somebody else. Do what other people are doing, but be
Yeah.
your own person. Don't try and copy somebody because it never works, right? You never. Nobody's a really good actor. Everybody's way better at being themselves.
Absolutely. There's something to be said about that, those first sort of on camera jitters when you've got a phone or a gimbal attached to a phone and you're looking at yourself
Oh
and
yeah,
you feel a little weird, right? Not that's okay. That's actually plain. And you can even say, man, I feel weird. Like I don't like seeing however it is, it rolls out for you. Or if you're doing a video and you screw up on a word, is that going to be an outtake or are we just going to roll? Oh, we're going to roll. Okay, well, I better get back in here again. People love that stuff.
oh, people love it. People love the outtakes, like
Yeah.
laughing or you know what people also like is you make fun of yourself. Like, oh man, I really messed that up. I'm not very good at talking, and I'm just gonna keep going. And they pause with you during that second, chuckle, and then you move on. And right, that's just normal. That's who
Sure.
people actually are. Because if you were actually talking to them face to face, and that happened, you just continue to roll on. But because it's social media, you try and make it perfect, and people don't want perfect. They want you to be you, because that's how they get to know you, and that's how they get to trust you, and that's when they pick up the phone and phone you.
They want their realtors deliciously flawed. They want to know they're human, plain and
Yeah,
simple.
yeah.
Are you guys venturing into YouTube at all?
We've had a YouTube channel from the very beginning. We have one video that hit 17 million views. So from that, it kind of exploded. We got a lot more followers and subscribers on our channel. So yeah, we use YouTube, but mostly for listing videos, like not making videos of ourselves and putting it on YouTube necessarily. It's 95% listing videos. And all of our personal videos or all of our self is straight Instagram.
Okay. Let's back that up. Did you say 17 million views?
Yeah, on one video. I
What
don't know if you
on
guys
earth?
know, but you can make a lot of money from YouTube. That one video, Josh, that pulled in $15,000 for us.
My next
YouTube.
question was, did you end up with one of those platinum YouTube plaques in the background that some YouTubers
Not yet.
have?
Not yet. You need 100,000 subscribers to get one of those. We do not have.
Okay.
We have 23,000. So probably not going to happen. But yeah, again, once you have that many views on your YouTube channel, Google owns YouTube, so you search higher, right? It's all for us. It's all about spreading out and trying to get our Google juice to flow even more. And that's straight to our website.
What does a check from Google look like? Is it colorful? Is it?
No, we didn't even know, actually. I remember I had a Volkswagen video of one of my Volkswagens doing donuts, and I had 300,000 views, and they emailed me one day and said, you gotta set up your AdSense account or something, because you can't remove your money without it. And I was like, oh, money, awesome. So I logged in and I had $300 sitting in an account. So I set it up, removed the $300, and then it was 3 years later, we made some stupid prank video that was lame, and it got on the Chive and exploded. And we were getting like 40,000 views a day for a couple months. So
Wow.
It racked up pretty quickly. And then I was like, oh, wow, I'm sure we have made some money off of that. So I remember logging into Google AdSense and it said $16,400 or something like that. And I was like, I almost pissed myself. I laughed.
Yeah.
And then I phoned my brother and I was like, I don't know. We got to start making more videos like that, because you can make a lot of money. So you can just imagine when your kids watch YouTube, how much those people on the other end are actually making.
Well, unbelievable. I do have a sense of it, but yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot to be said about micro farming in this space, because clearly it works, and it doesn't look to me like there are a ton of people doing it.
No.
And this also feels like the kind of area unique to micro farming, a sub area inside a city, where really how many realtors can market to the same sub area inside a city? Versus how many realtors can market inside a city. It's certainly more in a city than in a specific sub area. But when you think about online, the world is your consumer, and not necessarily directly, but in terms of viewership and attractiveness to the number of views that they give you. It just makes your stock go up in the people that live locally.
Yeah, and we did think in the beginning, like farming is great because you can become a neighborhood expert, but it also pigeonholes you into that neighborhood, right? And I don't want to just be a Pitt Meadows realtor. I want my friends, all my friends or people that follow me online, they live everywhere. They don't just live in Pitt Meadows. So we farm to the lower mainland, not to a city, not to a neighborhood, because that just pigeonholes you. How many people in that neighborhood can you know, right? How many recommendations, or then you're just working with people you don't know. And I don't necessarily love that. I want to work with people that I slightly know, because people are crazy. There's some psychos out there, and you think it's going to go good, and it's just a disaster. So we kind of turned off on people we don't know, right? We want people that we know or that are third party to us, so that there is some sort of connection. It's not just a random phone call. Oh, you sold a house in my neighborhood, I want to use you. Cool. I love those phone calls, and I'll take it. But I'd rather work with people that I know slightly or well, so that I know who I'm dealing with, right? Because there's some psychos out there, and I've had some really bad experiences. And I don't know, to me, stress and pulling me down and just super negativity isn't worth that paycheck. I'd rather work with somebody that I know, right? So
yeah,
I think that goes back to the farming our friends instead of farming a neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, and it goes back to also put yourself out there authentically. Let people know who you are. Be prepared that not everyone will do business with you, and that's actually good, because you have no idea until you've had an experience with crazy, and you've already signed the listing contract, and there's no real easy way to get out of it. Till that experience comes knocking on your door, you might think it won't happen to you. Well, sure as hell it will. Put yourself out there authentically.
Yeah, and how many times do you get to a point where you have to fire somebody? Like, and when you're first starting out, you don't fire anybody. You take the abuse, you take the crazy, you get owned. And I hated that. I hated getting owned by somebody else. I wanted to be more in the driver's seat. And when somebody knows you and somebody likes you and somebody trusts you, you're the driver. They're the passenger in the whole transaction, and they listen to you. And my job is to just do what's best for them and get them the best deal that I can. And if they don't listen to you, it doesn't work, right? If they listen to what you say, it's going to turn out the way you're a realtor. You know how the negotiation should go. You know how to get somebody to like your offer. You know how to work with somebody. Where a buyer is in it for a short period of time, and they try and direct. And if they direct you in the wrong way, it's backfiring on you, and it doesn't help anybody, right? So if you get somebody that trusts you, you get to drive more, and it all turns out better in the end. And it goes back to, again, what I said. I want to make sure they like me at the end, right? Because that's just going to get me another referral.
The ultimate driver of anyone's success is the trust meter. The higher and the quicker they can trust you, then you're going to do really well. You're going to get more and more people coming to you. The more authentic you can be, including your blemishes and your screw ups and all of the stuff you'd put out there if you choose social media. That's exactly what increases your currency and trust. The more they trust you, the less they ever ask you about what you charge for commission, or challenge you on some approach you want to take to marketing, or hey, how to prove to me what kind of reach you have. None of that shit ever shows up. It just does, but when you go marketing to strangers, you invite that in your house, and then you have to be prepared to take it on and live with it through the contract. And yes, I've walked through broken glass.
I think you got to explain yourself to new people all the time, where people that follow me on Instagram already know how I do it, already know what we do, so they're not coming asking questions. They're coming asking, when can you sell my house? I can't wait, right? How many offers do you think we're going to get? What's the price you think I can sell my house for? Right? It's not about like, what do you charge? What do you do? Like, what does your website look like? They've already seen it. They've already experienced a listing without listing their own house, right? So they know what they're going to get right away. So they don't question us. They just come to us and say, can you please list our house? And we say, of course, right? So it's again, putting yourself out there in a non-douchey way to try and get people to know what you do, and not just real estate. Because people, I don't know, people hate realtors, guys. They do. A lot of people don't like realtors. We're like lawyers. People just have a negative opinion of us right away. So you got to try and change it for everybody, right? Just got to be nice and do a good job, and they like you at the end, and they say, shit, he did such a good job, or he was awesome. It's so easy to talk to, answered his phone, text him at 1:30 in the morning. He messaged me back at 1:45. Like, I don't know. I hold my phone close to me, and I find that when you answer as soon as possible and you give good service, it just keeps coming back.
Yeah, it comes back to, Russ, in my mind, the bar to success is not that high, and that might just be because there's a sea of realtors that really are missing the mark when it comes to just being true and authentic and all of that. I like what David, thanks for the comment. David says microfarming to their people, not microfarming to a postal code, which is brilliant, and that is the message today for sure. And Nika says, no bloody way. I'm not messaging at 1:30 a.m. I imagine neither am I, but yes, that's because Russ has a party lifestyle.
Josh, good luck texting me at 6:30 in the morning, buddy. There's no chance I'll ever answer that.
That's already way too late for me. I'm up about 4:20. That's usually my wake up time. Yes, every morning.
Yeah, I'm more of a late. Who sells a house at 6:30 in the morning? Not too many people, but I have done many deals at 11:30, 12, 1 o'clock at night. So that's where I like to hang.
Right on. Welcome, Jordan McNabb, the other half. We don't know if he's certainly naked
See,
from the top
again,
up. Yeah.
Again, Josh, pushing the boundaries, not even wearing a shirt.
All right, I was just forgot about this meeting. I just want to check in how it goes.
You get out of here.
Okay.
We haven't started, Jordan. We've been waiting for you. No, I'm kidding. We're at 11:50, and I promise you we would keep you here for an hour. So we have 10 minutes, and I'd love for those of you that have thoughts in your mind around what we've talked about to unmute yourself and ask a question. Russ doesn't bite. As you can tell, he's extremely friendly. So if there's something you're thinking of wanting to do in your business that sounds like Russ has some knowledge on, now's your time to ask.
Hit me.
For the record, this is where that silence pops.
Super quiet, awkward. The teacher just asked somebody to raise their hand and nobody wants to do it.
Sanjeev, we can count on Sanjeev to definitely ask a question. Go ahead, Sanjeev. Or did you have a question? Yeah, I thought you did.
Come on, David. Ask a question. You're killing it. I love your style right now, David. You came in hot and I like it.
Thanks. I think I don't know, like ripping off and duplicating and learning from people is obviously what I've done in the first year, and finding my own little path and route of what I think is true to me. Right now, Instagram, posts and stories. Do you find one is getting you more than the other? Because I'm trying to do more stories, and it's for anybody that's trying to wrap their head around it. Being on social media is part of it is actually being social. So if you put your shit out and say, oh, look at me, hey, look at this, and you're not reciprocating with other people that are liking or making comments, you're missing part of the socialness of it.
I would say 50% of the socialness part for sure. Because like stories, 100% gets you more side messages because not necessarily a comment where everybody gets to see it.
Yeah.
Post commenting or liking other people's posts and commenting on their posts, interacting. It's seeing somebody at the grocery store and talking to them for 2 minutes. It's the same thing. And you don't have to go anywhere. You can pull up your phone, Jord, I know is diligent about it. I don't do it as much, but spending 15, 20 minutes beginning or end of your day, scrolling through and commenting on people you know. Oh, like making a comment or liking their picture or saying, oh, that's so awesome. I just went there with my kids the other day. I love that place, right? It just gets them to either comment back to you or start a conversation, or them to side message you, or just, reach out and they know that you're looking at their post, right? Just even liking their post is good enough, right?
Yes.
Anything. Yeah. How many times,
DJ,
Josh,
can you mute yourself?
How many times, Josh, do you scroll through Instagram and you look at a picture and you like it, but you don't physically like it? It just like you end up scrolling. If you hit that like on the people that you know, it just shows to them that you're looking at it, not just looking and scrolling past. If you took that half second to like their picture, which means nothing, but to them it might think, oh yeah, Josh. Oh, Josh. Yeah, I was actually thinking maybe I'll phone Josh and ask him a question. That's all it is. It's just
that's it.
Putting yourself out there, and you don't have to pay for it. It costs $0 to put your name in front of somebody every single day. Every single day.
I set aside 3 hours a day to like all the McNabb videos.
You must be really fast, Ron. Holy shit.
Yeah. There's a lot of them. It's good. So hey, Russ. So when you had your success with your donut spinning 17 million view videos, how much time did you spend trying to duplicate that so that you could?
The first one, the Volkswagen one, was easy because I just like doing donuts in my Volkswagen. The second one, the viral one, was George's creation, and it was just trying to make a viral video. So just trying to think of any prank, any video, because we made videos all the time, and not all of them got more than 100 views, right? So it just one that stuck, and it was stupid, and it had a really good like title name, and I think that was what made it explode. Is people were like, wow, what is this? And then it became a suggested video on the side of YouTube, so it was just constant. It was, it's hard to make that kind of stuff because we've tried multiple times since then, and
You
hasn't
just
worked
don't
out.
know. Yeah.
You just don't know.
I mistakenly launched a video called How to Park Your Porsche in Vancouver. And I woke up one morning with our phones lit up and it got licensed. It made fail army and everything else. And
nice.
Then you try and do it again. No. Yeah. It's not going to happen on purpose, probably, right?
No, it's super random, and it's just got to have good content and good title, and it gets pulled on one of those fail armies or the chive and just explodes from there.
Yeah.
Leverage.
Hey, two questions. Sonny wants to know, did Google pay you in US funds?
I believe we had to convert it. I think you had the option, US or Canadian. I think we chose Canadian. It went directly into our bank account.
And okay, thanks. Allison's asking a question that crosses my mind. How many hashtags are too many? Instagram limits you. So I think it's 60. I think it's 60 you're allowed, but again, hashtags, use the same ones all the time. That's what we do. Yeah. I keep a note in my phone. So I'm never thinking I think of hashtags that go with that post, but all your regular hashtags, your cities, your name, your last name, real estate, all the bullshit stuff that you continually use over and over again. Yeah. I make a note and then I copy and paste that. So you don't have to think of hashtags all the time. The other thing that I would put on a lot of you is finding a way to, because Instagram doesn't allow you to space stuff or format it the way you want to. There are apps out there that you can format your post wording, so you can put spaces in, you can put different things. You can't put links or anything in, but we always separate the wording from the hashtags, because hashtags is not about somebody reading that hashtag or seeing it. It's about people searching hashtags. So you actually don't even really care about the hashtags in your post. You can put it in a comment or you can put it lower. So it's not like everybody has to read through it. They can scroll past it after. So there is an app I'm going to tell you guys about right now. It's called Insta Caption. Insta Caption, Allison.
Insta Caption. And it just lets you format your wording and then you copy and paste it into your post. And that gives you a way to separate stuff out. So it's not all one giant paragraph. So that was a huge thing for us a while ago, for us to be able to put our wording, put our stats, like listing stats, like bedrooms, bathrooms, price, and then space it out and then put hashtags way lower.
Got it. Beautiful. This was great. We only got a minute and a half to go here, but are there any other questions? Otherwise, we'll let Russ off. Ramon, you just unmuted. Go ahead.
Hey, Russ, how's it going?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Good. Just wondering, how much time do you guys spend editing videos, or is it all raw, fresh type stuff that you're posting?
It's mostly raw from Instagram, straight video. We might have to do a couple takes. It's not always perfect, but right. If we're doing something longer than just hey, I'm at an inspection today, or if it's something a little bit longer, then we used to edit on our computers a lot with Final Cut Pro and stuff. But that takes a lot of time to import footage and export. And then do you want it sideways or up and down? So there's a lot of apps on your phone that you can edit from that are way, way quicker now. So if we're going to do more than like a 30-second video, it's usually edited, but pretty easily put together. If it's shorter than 30 seconds, straight Instagram filming from there.
Awesome.
Right on. Thanks, Amon. And yes, VJ likes it raw, keeping it real. VJ is another man that does a ton of Instagram posts. I don't think he ever comes into my office here in Surrey without his camera out, ready to record something, which is great.
It works, man. It works.
Yeah. I want to thank you. It's actually, we've got 3 minutes to 1. Thank you very much, Russ. I appreciate your fantastic interview. This is great content. I got a lot of it. So thank you. And I hope everyone else in here did as well too.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me.
Good luck on the inspection.
I got to go to work.
All right, man.
Okay,
bye for now.
See you guys later.